Hi, Crystal. This is Sanja. I thought I would put together something really rough to show you how we can combine the accounting with the legal. Um, again, this is really rough and dirty. I just threw it together. So I will, if I can move my photo, and of course my photo wouldn't be on whatever we record. This is just my standard issue. We can adjust it accordingly. So anyway, let me take a few minutes and let me just start as if I'm teaching a lesson. Here we go. Hi guys, this is Sanja. The other day I got a phone call from a friend of mine. As a matter of fact, my best friend from childhood for the last 30 to 40 years. Her name is also Sanja. She had an uncle that went to the doctor about 2 weeks ago, tested for COVID-19, came back negative. Well, a week later, and he'd been nowhere else in the interim between that last doctor's appointment that he woke up and he felt ill. He just told his wife, I really don't feel good. I need you to take me to the hospital. And what do you know? When he got there, they tested him and he was positive with COVID-19 and he was dead within 48 hours. Now, we've got to think about COVID-19 and the present environment, especially as it impacts accountants, CPAs, and attorneys. So we're looking at the legal and accounting implications of COVID-19 in the workplace, and we're going to look beyond, what does that mean for us? What does it mean? First of all, let's look at what was issued by the Division of Corporation Finance, Securities and Exchange Commission of Disclosure, guidance topic number 9. So basically, what they said was this, and this is just an excerpt that I pulled from that website. It said the impact of COVID-19 on companies is evolving rapidly, and its future effects are uncertain. The division is monitoring how companies are reporting the effects and risks of COVID-19 on their business's financial condition and results of operations, and is providing this guidance as companies prepare disclosure documents during this uncertain time. They keep giving you a key word, and that is uncertain. We don't yet know uh, all the specifics. We know that every state has different guidelines. We know that the federal government has issued no particular legal or accounting proclamations. I thought the other day, as I went into a store with a mask on, every store that I went into, the store itself demanded that masks be worn. But there's no universal guidance. So we have to be proactive in our thinking as attorneys and as CPAs and accountants. We've got to be the thought processes for our clients. We have to prepare them for success, not only in this present COVID-19 environment. We've got to prepare them for what could be going on down the road. So we're just looking briefly at some considerations to look at as far as in the accounting profession, the legal profession, and most importantly, a point that I want to make: the crossover between the two and why it is beneficial for these two industries, accountants and attorneys, to collaborate so that as laws develop and as cases evolve and as things change, we protect our clients as much as possible. Let's first look at accounting considerations, accountants and CPAs. What is it that your clients want to know in this present environment if your company wants to thrive? And if they're not in an industry that is booming because of COVID-19, because face it, there are some businesses that COVID-19 is increasing. As far as online businesses, there are certain things because of COVID-19, people who make PPE, all types of those things, they're increasing. But the majority, 42%, of the economy is decreasing, according to the latest labor statistics. So right now, if you have companies, they want to know things like this, even though we're getting towards the end of the year. How do I apply for the PPP and EIDL loans? Congress has not yet agreed on a second stimulus package, but it is forthcoming, and prayerfully before the end of the year, it will be there. For companies who are struggling and need help financially, they're going to want to have legal advice, accounting advice. Should I apply for the PPP and the idle loan. Can you do that for me? Do you have that software? And if I get those loans, the second thing I want to know is, how do I get the forgiveness? How do I get this loan forgiveness? And even right now, as Congress debates, they're even talking about a second round of loans for those who have successfully used that first round. Your companies are going to want to know that. Small businesses, especially any business that employs less than 500 people. That could be a one-person show. A lot of my clients are 1 and 2 people shows that I've helped acquire these loans, and will have to help get the forgiveness and go back for that second go round. So it's really important. How do I apply for these loans, and how do I qualify for loan forgiveness? Now, also, this is something we've got to be forward thinking accountants, CPAs. We've got to think about, what will our firms look like in the future. Is this the time to go to a virtual look in accounting? Lots of literature available about what the virtual accounting firm looks like. Statistics show that a virtual accounting firm is usually about 50% more prosperous. Do you want that? Do you want to go completely virtual? Do you think that this COVID-19 environment will drive you that way? Is it time to go back into the physical environment? That's something that we have got to have intelligent conversations with our clients. And the answer to that is going to be state specific and industry specific. And we need to know, what are the accounting issues, because we're the accountants, not them. What's the best software to use in this new environment? You've got some great software out here that can generate the PPP and idle loan forgiveness forms, the idle and PPP applications. You've got to be sure that you're up and moving. This is not the time to stay in a caveman mindset. This is the time to consider, if not going completely virtual in your practice. My practice, my CPA firm in South Carolina, is completely virtual. You may not want that. You might want a portion of it, but you've got to join that cloud in order to continue prospering. And finally, how do I attract valuable clients in the COVID-19 environment? On LinkedIn, I'm always getting these in messages from people who do nothing but scour the virtual environment to find clients and match them with the right accountant or CPA. We don't want to be desperate. We want to be properly matched so that we can give our customers the greatest value. So what are the things that accountants and CPAs need to be concerned about? Again, number 1, how do I apply for the PPP and idle loans if necessary? Number 2, how can I qualify for loan forgiveness? 3, what does a post-COVID-19 firm look like? 4, what's the best software to use in this new environment? And 5, how do I attract valuable clients in the COVID-19 environment? Let's talk about legal ramifications. There are a lot of things to be concerned about, because there are no laws specifically to govern. There are mandates as to how you ought to keep your atmosphere clean. If you're in a physical environment, I noticed that if I go, my favorite place to shop is going to be a place like Target, or it's going to be TJ Maxx. And I noticed that between every sale, those cashiers have to wipe everything down. That's their store policy. What is your state policy? I live in South Carolina. It's important for me to know that. Here is a booming question, and everybody's on pins and needles waiting to see how this is going to turn out. What if you or one of your clients is sued by a customer? If I go back to my best friend Sandra in that scenario, if they can prove that the only place that her uncle visited between the time he tested negative and the time he tested positive and eventually was dead within 48 hours, that's a potential lawsuit. What types of protections are in place in each state in your industry to protect you from that? How in the world can we be legally responsible for the spread of a pathogen like COVID-19? You've got to know. Here is something that is very important. I have a nonprofit that I govern, and here's the thing that we're running up against. There are bylaws that are written for a physical club. We've never been a physical club. We've had to turn virtual. So we've had to have all of these emergency meetings and vote on adapting to the virtual environment. Is it okay to vote via the Zoom meeting? What does it require to install a new officer? Our current governing papers say that we have to meet together and we have to swear that person in. Well, in this environment in South Carolina where COVID is steadily increasing, it's not the smartest thing to do. What do we do to change our corporate governance? How do I properly vet? This is very concerning. Now that the geographical lines are disappearing because of virtual business, how do you properly vet customers that you want? Just because we're adapting to a virtual environment doesn't mean that we're desperate as attorneys, as business owners, and we don't want our clients to be desperate either. We have to teach them the legal things they need to do to protect themselves. How do you, if you decide that everything is going to be virtual until the COVID-19 atmosphere clears up, how do you make sure that your employees and that the employees of your clients are really working the hours that they said they were going to work? How do you draft an online agreement with a new employee whom you've met maybe via Zoom, but you really never met face to face? How legally enforceable is that employment contract, especially when you get to the intricacies of what their fringes are going to be? All of that's important. So overall, you have concerns legally for corporate governance, public disclosure, securities trading, employment contracts. All types of things are just concerning. So what I want to say and encourage is that in this virtual environment, these are the times where the accountant, the CPA, and the attorney need to merge together and need to mesh what they have. That accountant for that company has got to know what it is that company needs to survive. Do they need to apply for loans? What if they decide to open a new business? All of a sudden, that's happening. People, because of desperation and because of closing down industries, you've got new businesses popping up all of the time. How do you write the contracts that can legally protect these business owners who will be your clients? Not only that, that CPA, that accountant needs to know how to run those books and the legal ramifications. What's going to happen if that client got that PPP or IO loan and cannot get that loan forgiven? All of these things are important. My purpose of this video was not to give you intricacies, but to introduce you to a plethora of topics that you can find if you just browse our catalog at www.cpeguide.com, where we will go into specific details about what the accountant should know concerning the PPP loan. We have a lesson on that, a lesson on idle loans, a lesson on proper bookkeeping. What is the best online bookkeeping software at this time? Also, if you want to look and see how about contracting, things of that sort, and specific information on just how to, the ABCs of how to frequently collaborate between the accountants, the CPAs, and the legal professionals, the attorneys. Guys, all of this is very important. So again, we have a catalog, a library of CPE credits that we have available for you. www.cpeguide.com. I'm Sandra. Hey, and I'm the resident expert. I love this stuff. I hope to see you again real soon.